Welcome back to another podcast with the Nat1Nerds. I'm here today with Rymar,
Oh, guys.
the Grand Nizmo,
How's it going?
and Wren Modulus,
Yes.
aka in the same order Brandon, Tyler, Derek, and me, WhiskeyTenn, or David. You'll see all of our handles now on our respective windows. They can't see it, but I can because I'm recording it. It's on there in the corner somewhere. But anyways, it's another week. It's been super rainy where we're at. I don't know about you guys, but I had a shit ton of thunderstorms like Sunday night. It just was all day. All day it was thundering.
Yep, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It was pretty bad last night, too.
Mm-hmm. Supposed to keep going all the way through the week. But we're not weather reporters. We talk about anything we want to. Have you guys been up to anything this week?
Printing.
3D printing? Everyone's working still?
Yeah.
That's what we do every week.
Oh, a lot of work.
Yeah.
Has anyone played any other games besides League of Legends?
But a Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yeah.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty. We've been playing Call of Duty too.
I've been playing through Control here lately. So
What's that?
I'm taking my time getting through it. Control.
Mhm.
It's kind of a psychological thriller type game. Similar. It kind of gives me like Alan Wake vibes, sort of. You ever played
Oh.
that?
It's a good game, yeah.
But it's got really good gameplay. I believe Remedy is the developer behind that one, and so far it's really good. I'm not completed it, but it's turned out to be a really good game.
Have you played any of the like Cult of Cthulhu games? Like
I have not.
no? Those
I
are
think
really
I have
good.
some on my Steam backlog, but I don't think that I've played it.
Those are really fun. That and there's another one. It's like a story-driven game. You like hunt a Wendigo with like a bunch of like college freshmen or something. Like you get stuck out in the middle of the woods during winter, and it's like a very story-based driven game. I'll look it up between now and when we finish, but that's a really good one too, and it's on PlayStation 4. I'm assuming. Are you paying this on
Oh, yeah,
PS4? Because that's what it says.
No, I'm actually playing it on PC through. I think it's exclusive to the. I'll think of it. Just
Is the main
Epic Games
protagonist a woman with red hair?
Yep. Mhm.
Oh, I see PS4 everywhere. I just looked it up on here.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, it's on PS4 in the Epic Game Store. It's a timed exclusive. I think it comes out on Steam in August.
Oh, but you played it on PC.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the game I got to play around with ray tracing in my with my new 2070 Super. So
There is two games that are like that. Oh man, I'm gonna have to PewDiePie played through them at one point. Both kind of a horror survival, well, not horror survival, but horror like action game, story driven game. Kind of like have you guys ever played or seen the Walking Dead Telltale game?
Yeah, it's a really
I've
good
seen it,
game. I
yeah.
played through it.
Yeah, I think it's actually the same people who made it, but I'm not entirely sure. But it's really good. It's along the
Have
same
either
lines
one
as
of you
that.
played the Walking Dead VR game?
I have not played through Half-Life Alyx though. That was really good.
Fortunately, I don't have a VR headset.
yet,
Yet, no VR headset yet.
He's waiting on me to buy a new one so I can give him my old
Precisely.
one.
Oh man, it's gonna bug me to death until I find that.
So Tyler,
I-
how's that card? I'm thinking of getting a 2070 to put in my Alienware dock.
I'm liking it. So it's not the first card that I got when I built this PC. The first one I got was a RX 5700 XT because it'd been forever since I had an AMD it's been so long since I had an AMD card. It was when they were ATI. So I thought, let me give them a shot, see how it's going. I did not have a good experience. I don't know if it was the card that I got or if it was the notorious driver issues that they've had. But basically, I'd be playing, and for no rhyme or reason, it would just black screen and crash. It wasn't a thermal issue because I was monitoring the thermals. It just would just die. Rolled out all the other things. Ended up sending that card back with the 2070 Super, and I've had no issues. It's been purring right along. So might have just been that card, but left a bad taste in my mouth, so I went back to NVIDIA, which with streaming and everything anyway, I want the NVENC encoder anyway over AMD's encoder, so it worked out. But thumbs up in my book.
I don't know. I found it. By the way, in not to take us back to the video game thing, but the 2070 is cool. I want to get my 2080 when I get my next stimulus check. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully that actually becomes a thing. The games that I was talking about was called Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Which is like a Wendigo that you kind of have to survive through. And there's another one, I think made by the same people, or it looks a lot similar, The Man of Medan, which is like a boat version, which is where like you go onto a haunted boat. I think they're both.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I think they're both PS4 exclusives, though. But
Until Dawn, I think I got that as like a PS Plus freebie, and I played some of it. I had more fun watching my wife try to play it though. That was
Dawn.
Funny. Yep.
I tell you, I've been playing. So you guys know or have seen me play The Last of Us on Twitch, and I don't know how much of it you guys have actually seen, but there have been so many times where I've been gotten like so scared.
Man, that link you sent today, dude, was hilarious. I was like, I can't wait to see this. I turned it on and I watched part of it, and then you went. I was like,
so like it just no spoilers, but like I was working on a workbench, and I was like, I cleared out the room. There was a singular locked door in the place that I went to, and I was like, well, there's doors locked everywhere, so it's like whatever. But no, this one had people behind it, and as soon as I started working on the workbench, when like you don't have control of your character anymore because you're in that animation, I start hearing footsteps run behind me, and I was like, what the hell? And I get grabbed by this guy, and like it was just awful. Not to mention though, like every single time, like I have like a mild form of PTSD because of this game, where like if I open up bathroom doors or like any doors, there's every now and again, like just when you get used to there not being something comes out, and it jumps onto you in that game. And I don't remember the first one being so much of a horror game, more of a survival game, but this one is a little bit more of a survival horror. Like I actually hate going into dark rooms in this game. Like if there's like a hole and there's like a dark space, I'm like, I really don't want to go down there, but I feel like I have to.
So Tyler, you mentioned having fun watching people play games. So, my daughter, we have a Swift Switch, and she has Super Mario Odyssey. And so every time it goes to like the classic gameplay, she just hands it to me and says, "I'm flat again. Will you beat it?"
she's your daughter.
I got
That's
you.
exactly what she says. She says, "I'm flat again. Will you beat it?"
We should do a TikTok. We need a TikTok.
I don't know.
Josh Stubbs is pretty good with it. Josh Stubbs, he puts all of his VR content on there.
I would totally put some League of Legends content on there.
Free advertisement. I mean, anytime you put video games as your interest, it'll eventually show up on someone's For You page. So
we could also do D&D content as well. I mean,
true.
A lot of people do D&D content on there.
Yeah.
It's just one of my favorites.
We're not doing D&D right now because someone, Brandon, doesn't want to play
I'm over here.
He's over here on my
screen. You're right there.
Not over the. Not you're right there.
He's over here.
Right there.
Over this way.
So point. Someone. One of my favorite TikTok dudes that's on there actually. It's actually his wife. She does this channel. It's called "I'm Married to a DM," and like she'll walk up to her husband and be like, "Hey, I gotta do the dishes," and he'll be like, "Roll performance." And like she'll take a dice and roll it, and it'll be like a Nat1. And so she is standing at the sink with like dishes on top of her head and stuff after. It's quite funny.
I've seen those.
It's quite funny.
There was one where it was like he's just gonna shave his face, and he rolled like a low number. Then he just covered his whole head in shaving cream and like shaved off his eyebrow.
Yeah,
so,
I saw that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm too old to be participating in TikTok, but not too old to look at it because I think it's funny still.
Well, I've got the kids, so I'm actually gonna start doing some random shit on TikTok with them. Like the other day, I was in the car with the kids, and I'm old apparently to them. And Abby was like, "Dad, do you do TikTok?" And I was like, "I haven't done one. I'm gonna have one on right now from where I was in Lowe's parking lot, and some dude was in the parking lot singing and shit." And I was like, "This is funny," so I recorded it and put it on TikTok. Well, either way, I got my phone and I was like, "I'm gonna do a TikTok right now. It's TikTok time." and I just started recording. I was like, TikTok time! I'm doing a TikTok. This is how you do a TikTok, right, Abby? And I pointed the phone at her, and she was like, no. I was like, okay, TikTok time, and I was, it was funny. It's on TikTok.
Have your kids done any of the classic? How many likes do I need to get for you to do whatever? Have they done that yet to you?
They have not, and I would tell them 2 bajillion.
2 bajillion.
Yeah, I haven't
"Dad,
gotten that either.
How many likes until we can get another dog? It's like, we have 2 already.
No kidding.
No, my daughter just asks for the things. I mean, we have 6 horses, 28 chickens, 2
They are
ducks.
all delicious looking.
Two ducks
The
because 2 of
horses?
them got eaten by
Horses?
something.
The chickens.
Yeah, 28 chickens. 6 horses.
That look very delicious.
Yeah, he irritates my daughter all the time saying that the chickens look delicious.
I think she needs to watch these podcasts and see that her chickens look delicious as well.
She doesn't.
Oh,
need
she
to watch
knows you
this
think her
podcast.
chickens look delicious. And then the ducks. Of course, I have a cat. I did have a dog, but well, not anymore.
Wait, what happened to Kayla?
That
She
seems
broke her
kinda
collar and ran off, and I haven't seen her in 6 months. I had her outside for a little bit, and she broke her collar and ran off.
You know, speaking of horses, Ethan, our mutual friend, he when he lived in Vegas, because he used to live in Vegas, said that there were restaurants that would serve horse, and it was very expensive, but he said it was very good.
Yeah.
Just as
you
an
know.
FYI. Apparently, horse is very good meat. for
Horse is
anyone that-
very good meat.
Yeah, to eat.
That's it probably is.
I will
It's-
tell her that her horses look delicious now too.
It's leaner than cow, so you're
Yeah.
probably gonna get less fat.
Eric, will you let her know that I think her horses look delicious as well now?
Well, you know, in Knoxville, they have the restaurant called the Lonesome Dove. Have you guys heard of that?
Heard of that?
They
place?
they actually serve like rattlesnake and possum, deer. They serve all this like untypical food there that you can order and eat, and they do it very gourmet style.
There's somewhere in Oak Ridge, I think it is, that serves Smoky Mountain oysters.
I don't know what that is.
You don't want to know what that
Can
is.
you enlighten the
Bear
ill-informed?
testicles.
Bear
Or
testicles?
bull testicles.
Or bull testicles.
But say bear seems a little bit kind of like out of the.
Typically, it's
reach.
bull testicles, but it's a little harder to get bull testicles in this area. So,
Well, how about
I'm
that
not eating
then?
either way.
yeah, I'm not eating anything's testicles.
Tyler, you were talking
I
just
will
before.
never eat balls.
You were talking just before we started about this photo editing software, but you got we got kind of distracted. But I wanted to talk about it here.
Oh yeah. So I hadn't heard about it up to this point, but it's called Affinity, and it's they've got 3 pieces of software: Affinity Photo, Designer, and Publisher. Photo is like your Photoshop. Designer is like Illustrator. Publisher, I haven't quite figured out if it replaces something in Adobe's, or is competes with something in Adobe's place or not. But yeah, I downloaded a free trial, and so far I'm liking it. It's a little bit more intuitive than Photoshop. Yeah,
A little bit easier to use to get started with.
Yeah, I mean they give you a lot of video tutorials. So if there's something you want to know how to do, it's pretty much on that page.
I mean, I don't think anything has more video tutorials than Photoshop.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but how many of them put out by Adobe? Right there on the product page.
One for every function is put out by Adobe. Actually,
There is that. They do. So Photoshop does do that because I've used it to learn how to do a few things. But
it's been a
but
while since I've used Photoshop.
yeah,
But I've
Photoshop
been
is still
using
very
GIMP.
difficult. I mean, not very difficult, but it does have a pretty steep learning curve. So anything that makes making good edits better is
I think it
is gonna
has
be good.
easier.
it
I think is
has
what
a-
you're thinking of.
Yeah, I think it has a cleaner interface too.
Okay.
So I don't know. I like it. It jived real well with my preferences. So
I mean,
I
I've
don't
used
have a
GIMP,
problem.
which is similar to Photoshop, like almost
use GIMP.
exactly like Photoshop, actually.
it's
Yeah.
it's definitely
but
a cleaner interface.
I have
than
Creative Cloud, so I use Photoshop and all the
Yeah.
Adobe tools.
So does Photoshop have a what do they call it in Affinity?
I mean, you pretty much can just say yes. If you're asking if Photoshop has something, the answer is
Just
yes.
ask yes.
Well,
yeah.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen Photoshop and used a copy
It's
of
making my
Photoshop.
eyes really bad.
But
Oh,
this is
I'm not muted.
called, what did they call this? Just a second here. It is called the In Painting brush. It's basically a brush. Yeah, it's basically a brush that you use to like completely remove portions of photos. Like it does AI or something. It has some kind of
Oh yeah,
algorithm
Photoshop
like
has that.
What do they call it? I don't know if they call it I don't know. It's called in
I
painting,
don't.
but I saw it and I like blew my mind. Like Photoshop didn't have that the last time I touched it.
I
Actually,
think it's
Photoshop has a brand new feature they just released recently. That's the Smart Select tool, and you just click a person or whatever, and it selects them like individual hair follicles. Even will be
I think
selected.
the
Nice.
Smart Select tool's been around for a while, but that feature sounds like it's new to it.
The AI, the AI
yeah.
feature of it is new, and it's I mean it'll select like individual hair follicles and everything in an image and crop out backgrounds, or you can invert it and crop out the foreground and just have a whole person-sized hole in a picture, which I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but I guess there are probably reasons you'd want to do that
Put someone else there.
with the
Yeah,
same body
but-
shape and hair
Yeah,
shape.
I mean, you can fix the background. I mean, that any professional.
I mean, there's also AI background cloning tools, so it tries to finish out a background if it's a some sort of pattern or anything that could be patternized.
Have you guys?
I
I
haven't-
need. No, you go ahead, Tyler.
I would say I haven't had a whole lot of hands-on with it, but the little bit that I've seen, I've been impressed. Plus, it's a one-time purchase, so like I got a friend of mine who would love to pay for Photoshop, but for the little bit he uses it, he's like, I'm not paying a subscription for it. It doesn't make sense. He's like, I'd much rather just pay them a flat fee, have the software, and be done with it like you used to. And that's what this company does. It's like $50, I think, for each program, and it's you own it.
That's the one thing about Photoshop I don't like is I wish you could just buy the version and just be done with it, right?
Have that version like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you want to upgrade,
I
or
don't
like,
think
let's
any.
say,
I really don't think any company is going to be that way very much longer.
probably not. Although you say that, but I mean, here's Affinity, probably a company that's not been around for that long, who just came out with one. And if they have a good product and people buy it, and what they'll do is they'll either push out minor updates or they'll end up using that money to develop an even better software going forward and then sell it over again. I mean, that's what video game people do, and I don't know. I feel like you're gonna have both all the time. I think I think once a company gets so big, then they go to that model where they charge the subscription, and that's just what they do from there. You have your desktop showing there.
Yes, this is Photoshop. Obviously, I mean she's not really casting spells, and this is Photoshop.
But I don't know. Like I said, I feel like once the company gets to the point to where they're big enough, you're gonna have to close OBS. By the way, Derek.
Oh no.
Once the company gets big enough, I feel like they just move to that model because they're so well known that people are gonna use it. Because I don't really think any professional studio would use anything other than Adobe. Just because for one, like Adobe has their own file set, right? Like they have their own particular kind of files. So if you're a professional working with other professionals and you have something that one office is working on, or you want to subcontract something else, you would have to send those Photoshop files or Premiere Pro files to another location, and they would expect it to be that to be able to work on. Otherwise, they would have to have other software as well.
Yeah, when you request files like in our even where I work, our media, they want something. It's okay. Well, send us over the PSD.
Yeah,
it's never send us an image or send us a RAW. It's send us the PSD.
Which is unfortunate because it kind of cuts out these guys. But I don't think Affinity is really looking to be the go-to photo editing tool. They probably are wanting to be the person who they're probably going after the person who's a semi-professional photographer that doesn't want to pay $20 a month for, or I mean more actually. I recently got onto the $20 a month deal because Derek told me about it through the student discount for Photoshop. But I imagine this is probably for like those semi-professional people who aren't quite sure what they want to do yet. And I'm assuming these guys also have a video editor, so these guys would probably also be really good for YouTubers or content creators or anyone you want to think of. I've mentioned before, DaVinci Resolve is kind of like my go-to for video editing, or has been. I'm gonna give Premiere a shot now that I have access to it and see if it's any better. But I think it's just going to be what you feel comfortable using.
I mean,
There's the
yeah.
other.
So for-
Well, I mean, to a certain level, it's what you feel comfortable using. Beyond a certain level, professionally, you pretty much have to use, Premiere or Photoshop
Or whatever
you know,
the other person's using, at least. You don't have to use it, but you do kind of have to work with whatever the other person's using as well.
Well,
Right, but
what I'm
even if-
reading here, Affinity software does work with Adobe files.
VFZs.
Yeah, and was it .ai for Illustrator and stuff like that. But I mean, it's kind of the low budget alternative. I mean,
right,
for my needs, I don't need the full version of Adobe. I'm not a graphic artist, graphic designer. I do that as a hobby on projects where I need it, but I don't. That's not what I do for professionally. So I think it's good to have. I think it definitely fulfills a space that Adobe's able to get to with their subscription model, but even more of a niche space in the people who don't want to pay the subscription because they don't need the software that often.
And by the way, you can still buy Adobe Suites as a business, for thousands of
business, yes.
dollars.
Yeah, let me just get my checkbook out. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, Tyler. I think that I think software like that is really good for people that want to give it a shot but don't want to just sink a ton of money into it. I actually just see on here it's funny. I search for Affinity Photo on Google, and the second hit on Google is Photoshop. And I just saw on here, yeah, you can buy Photoshop for $600 on Adobe.com. So $50 to try something out versus $600 to try something out. I mean, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, that's significant, very significant.
Especially
also
like if
looking
there's
at-
not much
that's also-
different offer, Like if they do the same thing, then why would you spend more? But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, they
That's
don't
like
do the same
comparing-
thing, but
It's like
that's
comparing the industry standard with. I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, what competitors do they have who can compete with the quality that they have? They kind of write their own checks, really. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just thought it was
they
neat.
kind of have the
Stumbled
monopoly
upon
on
it. Wish I stumbled upon it sooner because 10 days ago they had a 50% off sale.
You're on a
I missed
trial
it.
right now, though, right?
It's a 10-day trial. So,
I mean, if you like it, I'd keep
Apparently-
an eye out for Humble Bundle and see if it ever shows up on
Yeah.
Humble Bundle.
well, and it's not the only time they've had a 50% off. I mean, honestly, with what I've seen, I wouldn't have a problem throwing full price. When I have a project that I need it, But yeah, it's 10 days missed it. They apparently to this whole COVID deal, they had a 90-day trial and then half price, top of that. So missed it by 10 days. So did you guys hear that? Starting today, Call of Duty Warzone has got up to 200 players.
I did.
I got a notification because I got the mobile
Yeah,
app.
it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as if hit detection
What
wasn't kind
was
of
it,
iffy
150
already.
before?
Yeah, it was 150.
Yeah. So
So-
adding 50 more people. It's gonna
What
be
they
great.
need to
I think
do
that's-
is
I think
bring
it's
back
basically-
fucking blood money quads. Is what they need to do.
They did actually.
That was fun.
They did.
Well, it's plunder quads. They brought it back.
Either one is fine.
Yeah,
But
plunder
that
quads is back.
basically means if you go in quads and it's full, that's 49 other teams. that you're
It's
going
gonna
against.
be something else.
long gone will be the slow starts. You just you drop and just hit the ground running. But they did say it's going to be available for a limited time, according to their blog. But they didn't say how limited. Let's see. It's got a pretty sizable patch to go with it too. Basically, the full
crap,
game
I
you're
guess I
looking
gotta
at.
download another patch.
Yeah, 22 to 36 gigs of
Shit.
a patch for if you have the full game. 22 to 30 if you have the free to play. But they say it should only minimally impact size on disk, but mine went from I think 98.7 gigabytes to 103.
100 and something. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So, I just came across this. This is pretty cool. Discord, the software we use to record the podcast, raises $100 million and plans to move beyond gaming, is what they said.
interesting. Interesting.
Games, this is a quote from Jason
What are
Citron.
they looking to import? Or add to it? Or do they say?
Well, I'm going to read this quote to you. Games are what brought many of you on the platform and will always be grateful for that. As time passed, a lot of you realized and vocalized that you simply wanted a place designed to hang out and talk in the comfort of your own communities and friends. You wanted a place to have genuine conversations and spend quality time with people, whether catching up, learning something, or sharing ideas. So they're kind of trying to move to, I guess, more of a, like, this is a video chat and voice demand service. So they're trying to make that better, I guess, is what the gist of this is what it's saying.
There's a bunch of stuff online about them trying to get people to use it for podcasts now too.
Discord has placed a heavier emphasis on its voice chat platform of late. The company said in April had seen 50% growth in voice users in the U.S. since the beginning of 2020. The company introduced a noise suppression feature in the beta as a part of the partnership with Crisp, which is, I think mine's activated, maybe not, that detects and removes background noises so voices can be heard more clearly. The function that Microsoft has also announced in Teams for last month. So I guess you're wanting to go more in a direction of making themselves a very good voice and like video chatting device. I guess something on par with Microsoft Teams or what was the Google one you just mentioned?
I was going to say some other chat softwares I have seen issues that I have not seen in Discord with mics and things like that.
The company's Discord apparently is primarily competes with workplace chats like Slack, and
so are they making a separate? Does it say they're making a separate company or like corporate version? Or
no, I think they're just putting more money into it. I'll read more onto it real quick, but it's pretty interesting. Especially, I would like it for their video quality to get better because at the moment, Tyler's video feed is really clear on my screen, but Derek and Brandon's is not. So that would be nice if they would work on that a little bit more.
What's that?
Man, of all the
video
faces.
quality. I think it's the it's not you guys. I'm pretty sure it's the Discord server where the video chat's being hosted on.
Yeah, I mean
that makes sense.
Go ahead.
I've got a group of friends that we basically use Discord exclusively to chat back and forth. Like I said, a group text, like we use Discord, and we just have for like 3-4 years now. So I don't know if it's been that long. I don't know. It might have been. But,
so yeah, I mean,
makes sense.
I've gotten a lot of my friends to use Discord. I mean, honestly, Discord, I don't know if you guys use WhatsApp, but Discord, I would say, is a better version of WhatsApp, to be honest.
If for no other reason than it's not owned by Facebook.
True. For now.
For now.
Discord will get bought by Amazon.
I'd be okay with that, I think.
Yeah, it'd be all right.
Maybe.
Discord outlined a number of actions it plans to take to make its platform friendlier to non-gaming users. They include improving the new user onboarding experience, increasing capacity for voice and video chat, and continuing to invest in reliability and performance as our top priority. Discord says it made the interface built-in jokes and references less specific to gaming, because whenever you first loading the game for Discord, it had all those kind of like gaming references and such. And the company has created a Discord safety center that summarizes its data practices, rules, and safety tips and explanations to parents and teachers. So they're wanting appropriate school clubs, gaming groups, art communities, or just group of friends to be using it. They are what they're doing with this $100 million, according to this article on The Verge, is they're wanting to move away from just being a gaming tool and be just a media or a socialization tool, I guess is what they're wanting to do. Compete with all those Google Hangouts or Google Voice or all that good stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think many people use like Teams for just socialization.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of a corporate application.
Yeah,
we've had at work we've had a couple happy hours just during this whole ordeal. Everybody working from home. Everybody just get together and have a drink and use it, but that's mainly because we were using it for corporate use anyway. So That's about as close to social as we've gotten with it. But yeah, Discord's great. I like that they've added video chat natively into group chats. You don't have to be in a DM to do that. So that's something that's useful.
To Microsoft Teams?
Nope, to Discord. So before you had to be in a DM like we are now, they added it to main like groups. So if you have a server and you have voice channel, you can now just bring over video You can also just stream whatever you want to right there to that voice channel. So
On Discord?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, you could always do
So, like-
voice on the servers, but
yeah, but they added video, which you couldn't
really?
do because
that.
I remember. Yep, we wanted to use that for D&D nights, and we ended up having to do DM. And then, like the week after we started doing that, they implemented it. So
interesting. We'll have to look into that
Yeah.
for the next podcast. By the way, I had to redo the overlays because we lost Brandon there for a moment, and I had to add his tag back there. So sorry,
Just
everyone
back
who was
before.
watching that had all the tags everywhere in the wrong places. They're now fixed. So there we go.
Did you all see the news article about the smell of NASA create a perfume, the smell of space?
Interesting. What's it smell like?
I want to
Smell.
Mix
say
of gunpowder, seared steak, and raspberries and rum.
I was gonna say I want to say I heard an interview with an astronaut. He said it smells like steak.
It smells like steak.
Looks like the subtitle is a mix of gunpowder, seared steak, raspberries, and rum.
That
That's
actually
disgusting.
that sounds fantastic. Actually, I would probably wear that.
You know, where in space smells like that?
Your
Everywhere.
butt?
Everywhere, apparently.
Well, not everywhere because there's no air in space,
Where-
and air is
where
what
have-
carries scent particles.
Where have we been where we could smell it?
In the spacesuits
Your
and
butt?
on the space stations and
I would imagine the space station is probably where they smelled it.
It smells less like steak than anything.
So I'm gonna say what, low orbit? I don't know.
I don't know what the exact altitude is. I mean, I,
I
could
wonder
probably
if
find out pretty
the
quickly.
I wonder if the steak is their smell of them slowly being cooked from the inside due to solar radiation.
Probably. So speaking of space, did you guys see the craziness that happened where they saw? I think it was like last year, but they just recently saw it on the on the data where they witnessed a black hole consume ? They don't know what it was, but it basically rippled space time. Like it was nuts. Like it was either a massive neutron star or a small black hole. They can't decide. It's
They
kind of
saw
in
a
between
black
space
hole
time.
swallow another black hole.
Not visually, but they saw it in the gravitational waves that they're measuring. Let me find the
Interesting.
article on it.
Yeah, mysterious cosmic object swallowed by a black hole baffles astronomers.
Bag
They-
of holding
they don't
into
know.
a bag of holding.
That's what it was.
They
yeah,
don't
we
know
could have
what it
demonstrated
is.
that a long time ago.
They basically they don't know what it is. They measure it's like neutron star, but it's above the mass of what a neutron star should be able to get. I think it was like 2.9, and neutron star is supposed to be over like 2.5. This is like the max for them, but it's too weak to be a black hole. But basically, they explained it was released so much energy. The article I read that they actually said that it rippled space time.
So basically, they're learning how to make a TARDIS.
Space is so freaky.
I don't know
So
if they learned it.
do you guys know what the pillars of creation are? The gas nebula clouds that are really famous. They look like pillars. Well, apparently, like because of how light travels and everything, those pillars are actually already dispersed and they're gone. They don't exist anymore, so they're not there. But apparently, those pillars were like the size of 2 of our galaxies put together. Like that's how big they were. But in the photos, they don't look that
An
big.
individual pillar?
Yes. Or
Wow.
there's some obscene size. Like, let me Google it real quick so I don't talk out of my ass about it. 4 to 5 light years long is that's how big they are. So
How big is our galaxy?
52,000. So nowhere near as big as the galaxy, but 4 to 5 light years is still an unfathomable distance to comprehend or even understand to begin with.
Oh
So
yeah, I mean it's ridiculous.
and I thought that was really, really interesting. It was a video, I forget where I saw it on, but they were talking about like how things scale in space. And one of the things is there's this wall, like Tyler was saying, that's technically physically impossible to exist in the universe because of physics, but it's so massive, and I forget what it's called. I'll call it Great Space Wall. The Salon Great Wall is a cosmic structure formed by a giant wall of galaxies, and apparently it technically shouldn't be able to exist. It's not, by physics standards, it shouldn't be a thing that's possible, but because of how big it is, it's 1.38 billion light years in length, and it would apparently. I wish I remember more of the video. I should have took a note about it so we could talk about it on the podcast. But apparently, you would never see light on one end cross to the other side. Like, it's just physically impossible for the light to cross from one end to the other and see it. That's how big it is.
Like the light won't travel that far before it dissipates, or
Like, you couldn't observe it. Yeah, it was either that or something about speed. But it's just so big, it physically shouldn't exist, but it does. It's according to what astronomers have said. And
there's
apparently,
probably a lot more of that out there that we don't know about.
oh yeah,
Stuff
actually,
that we
according
don't think
now,
should exist.
now that I've pulled up this wiki article on it, apparently it's one of the 6 largest known objects in the universe.
One of 6?
Yes.
Or the
so
largest?
the Sloan Wall was actually not the one I was talking about. It's called the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall, and it is 93 billion light years in diameter.
Guys, you
10
can't go
billion.
near that wall.
10 billion light years in length. And there were some interesting facts about it, but I can't find it now. But it is just massive, and it apparently shouldn't exist.
All I know is you can't go near it, or you will catch the virus.
Yes, because it's the Corona Borealis Great Wall. Just crazy stuff in space, though. It's
Yes.
it makes you think like it's if you just do the statistics on it, it's virtually impossible for there not to be other life out there somewhere, just based off of the size and vastness of the universe.
Well, speaking of things we don't understand in space, and I realize movies, not real life and whatnot, but have you guys seen Event Horizon?
I have. I watched it when I was like 10, and it was the scariest movie I ever watched.
That is okay. The fact that something like that could actually happen is what's really terrifying. I don't know if Brandon, have you or Tyler either one seen it?
I think so. I
It
don't
sounds
remember.
familiar, but I can't think of
Where
the
they go
plot
through
offhand.
they go through like some sort of rift.
They go
or
through a
something. It's
wormhole, and they end
a
up going through hell.
wormhole essentially,
Yeah.
and they essentially they go insane because the wormhole they go through is essentially seemed to be hell, and they're torturing and killing each other and maiming themselves. And yeah,
Unfortunately, for me, just before that movie came out, I was really big into Jurassic Park. So the hero of Jurassic Park was like the main villain in that movie. So I had this, being the young and impressionable child, I was like, this doesn't make sense. That's my hero who's stringing up bodies on in this spaceship. This shouldn't be happening. Like,
right.
So, I found the article I was looking or I read earlier. It's actually National Geographic put it out on their site. But so the black hole was 800 million light years away, and on August 14th, 2019, that's when the gravitational waves finally washed over the Earth. But it apparently it was a cosmic merger released enough energy to wrinkle the fabric of space-time. But it basically, they determined one of the masses was it was 23 solar masses. So basically, it's as much mass as 23 of our suns, and the other was 2.6 solar masses. And the reason it's perplexing is 2.6 is above what they knew was the stable mass of neutron stars. So they don't have any physics reason why a black hole can't exist at 2.6 solar masses, but hasn't seen it. So
Okay,
well,
so
it's interesting.
another thing too is something like a comment like wrinkle the fabric of space-time. They don't even really know what that means.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
But
they
it sounds
can't-
cool as heck.
Yeah.
They can't measure space or time or gravity. So
They can, just not at the same time, right?
no,
I don't
we
know.
actually cannot physically observe gravity. Like we can't observe the gravity waves
Correct.
themselves.
Yes.
We're not capable of doing
Well, I can, but no one knows.
it.
No, so they've got what was it they use here? It's laser I'm gonna butcher this. Laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory.
That
AKA
doesn't measure the
LIGO.
gravitational wave. That measures the effect of the particles that are affected by the movement of the particles that are affected by the magnetic wave or by the gravitational wave.
I don't know. I just know it's made by people who are smarter than me.
Well, see, I actually had a discussion about this with someone in that field of study, taking him to Oak Ridge, probably, I don't know, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago. I don't know. Coronavirus just sort of made everything blend together, and you don't really know how long it's been.
What year is it?
But well, pretty soon that might be the case if we don't get rid of this sometime. But no, that was his statement. We are not actually capable of measuring gravity waves themselves. We measure the effect of the waves, using laser spectrometry.
Right.
I can't even say it. Using a laser spectrograph.
Right.
Imagine
I
how
don't
much different
necessarily
gravity.
understand.
Well, imagine how much different gravity could be at another sun. I mean, there's no way for us to really know how
Right,
that
it's
will be
relative.
affected by another. By another, we can make guesses. I mean, all science is. I mean, there is actually no. When people say there's scientific evidence, that actually isn't definitive proof. That's just so far this has been proven to be correct and has not been disproven yet. But it doesn't mean that it can't ever be disproven. That's the
why
main function. That's the building. That's the main principle of science, anyways, is to prove something until it can be disproven.
And that's why they use the idea of hypotheses and theories and things like that versus no, this is the way things are, because eventually we learn different.
I don't necessarily understand all that lingo, but I do understand wrinkle the fabric of space time. That sounds cool as heck.
That's
So that's probably why they put it in there.
It does sound cool as hell.
Apparently,
I'm gonna go with that.
I don't know why this made me think of today's asteroid day, actually, if no one knew. And apparently NASA actually has a program called the Double Asteroid Reduction Test, which is essentially what they're using to prevent asteroids from crashing into the Earth if there's ever one to be found on a collision course to Earth. This is a program that supposedly they're working on to be able to somehow knock asteroids off course from the planet if in the event that one were to be on its way to us. But they said
made a movie on that.
Yeah.
They made a lot of movies on that, actually.
Well, they made one really big one that had a really big actor in it.
Yeah. Just send him. He's done it before.
It's interesting though, because what they did is they did a Q&A on Twitter, and everyone was asking certain things, and pretty much every answer was like, well, first we'd have to detect it, which is why it's really important that we constantly are looking for stuff in space. Right now we have a working model for what's out there, and he said it depends on when do we detect it, as if we could actually even do anything about it. So is what most of their answers were, which is somewhat discomforting, but I guess that's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's I don't even know necessarily that it's as much when we detect it as when we decide we should do something about it. I mean, if they wait too long to decide they should do something about it, they won't be able to either.
Yeah, and this current.
Like, oh yeah, last week we could have done something about that, but now, we waited too long.
Yeah, and this current ecosystem, it might be something like, no, we should be using that money for X, Y, and Z instead of saving the planet. How dare you? I actually think if something like that were to happen, it would be if we were able to survive and get past it, it'd be the single best turning point in the world. If something, they always say that it takes something that's bigger than you to bring everyone together. So something that could potentially ruin the entire planet, I think, would be the single best point in human history, because it would bring everyone together. And then, assuming that it stays that way and everyone keeps working together, everyone would finally be at peace, or at least collaborating together more than they are now.
Well, War of the Worlds, that kind of movie. They're always, after it, they're always. That one didn't actually continue after it, but the ones that do, they're always, very closely knit, all of humanity.
Yeah, I think
just because of a possibility of extinction and the end of the planet.
Yeah, which is amazing why people don't come together more about climate change.
But they see that as, that's way off. We don't have to worry about that.
True. Yeah, imminent threats is what people worry about, which is why I guess you have lots of money thrown toward like terrorism and such after 9/11, is people were all about military spending after that, because it was a imminent threat. And same with the Cold War, and same with World War II. I mean, governments just threw money at war at that point because it was something that was on the at their door at the time.
I mean, governments are throwing money at something right now that's at their door.
I know Brandon has a Switch, but I don't know. Do you guys have Switches, Derek?
I do, but I'm gonna sell mine.
So
why?
I don't use it. I couldn't play through Zelda, so I mean, there's no point in having it.
Wait, hold on. You couldn't play through Zelda?
No, I thought it was boring.
Ow.
I just thought it was.
It,
I didn't like
heavily.
it.
Okay, go ahead,
boring.
Tyler. Sorry.
So, did any of you guys have issues with the Joy-Con drift?
Yes. Well, not drift. Actually, the buttons stopped working.
Okay.
I haven't had that happen yet.
I hadn't either, but apparently it's a fairly widespread thing. Granted, my Switch gets kind of light usage anyway, but Nintendo Life posted an article. Apparently, Nintendo president, his name, I'm gonna butcher it, Shintaro Furukawa, I think is how you say his name. Anyway, Nintendo's kind of been silent on it up to this point. There's a class action lawsuit going on and whatnot, but he apparently said in a conference, apologized for the inconvenience that the Joy-Con issues had caused, but didn't say much more than that. But they at least acknowledged it up to that point. So
Well, you
I don't know if
realize they're
anything will come
fixing.
of it.
You realize they're fixing those issues for free, whether it's under warranty or not. The drifting
Right.
issues. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because
Yeah.
I know some people. I read some people were having issues getting them to do it, but people who are under warranty, I don't think were having issues.
Okay.
I don't know.
They're saying they're fixing those for free, whether it's under warranty or not. Now,
Right,
whether they actually fixed them or they say, "Oh no, this was because of abuse" or whatever, that's
Right.
company politics and whatever. But
Yeah.
supposedly they're fixing all of the drifting issues on Joy-Cons.
Yeah. So they acknowledged it. So that's a thing that's happening. And then did you guys see the Crisis remaster that's happening? So,
No.
Because it's a running joke. Well, does it run Crisis? Yeah, that's everybody asked that since the game came out. But people thought, I think it was April of last year. I think it was. People thought that a leak of the Crisis remaster was a April Fool's joke, but it was officially confirmed. And then the Microsoft Store earlier, I think it was today even, leaked that they leaked the gameplay trailer, screenshots, and the release date, which was leaked to be rumored to be July 23rd for PC and Xbox One. But yeah, resurgence of those jokes I think are incoming. Does it play Run Crisis Remastered? I'm
That
sure
sounds
they're
about right.
Coming. Yeah. So
I actually have the original Crisis game on my shelf back there. I've actually not tried it on this computer yet, but that'd be interesting to see if it how it handled.
can't run it.
How well it does.
Yeah, it's interesting. There was one thing, not to veer us off of that, but you guys would probably know more about this. I haven't been able to look more into it. But what is this thing about data caps coming back at the end of the month with Comcast and AT&T and all this stuff going on?
I mean, they were forgiven for coronavirus, and that's it.
I don't think I'm on a data cap on my internet.
Yeah, you are. It's like ridiculous though, like 250 terabytes or something.
Oh, so not really a chance. So why is everyone up in an uproar about it?
Well, if it's 250 terabytes, what's keeping from lowering it to 25 gigs
Yeah, true.
or 15 gigs, and then they throttle you and make you pay more for it? It's a precedent, basically.
Right, but it's always been around, right? That's no.
Yeah.
It's,
No.
Yeah. No.
Not
Yeah, it is.
always. I know Spectrum didn't have it for a long time. I think they
Spectrum
do now.
still doesn't have it. Nope, they
Do they
don't.
not?
Nope.
So it's a matter of time.
Oh, I mean, they will at some point probably.
Yeah, I think
But-
they actually. I don't think they could because I think that was I read that was one of the stipulations in their merger with Time Warner, with Charter's merger with Time Warner, is they couldn't. But
Yeah,
that's
you're right.
coming
It
up
was. You're
done
right. It was one of the
this year.
stipulations.
I think is when
Yeah.
that expires. So
Yeah, you're right. I do remember seeing that as one of the stipulations of the merger.
Interesting. So
Because they
it's
couldn't
not.
add.
Sorry, it's not nothing new then. It's just resurfacing.
Oh no, yeah,
now.
they've all had stuff. That
This
had
was, I
some sort of
imagine
limit.
this was about that whole net neutrality thing as well, right? I'm sure it's off the ways of that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I
I mean,
just
and
wanted
that
to ask.
has affected things, but not nearly as much as people thought it would.
Yet.
Yet. I mean,
it'll be a slow thing.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
for it or anything either, but I mean that would be. I feel like it's bad to limit people's access and provide priority lanes to other businesses thinking that they're more valuable and need it more. Wasn't it like when this whole pandemic first started? If anything, these businesses who are using more than the average user should be paying more, right? Not charging the average user more to have
I mean,
access.
It's less that and more of businesses being able to pay providers for priority access. So, I mean, you have that with some cell phone carriers too. Like, I forget which one it was, but one of them basically throttled video
Oh,
streaming.
yeah.
unless
I
you
get what
pay
you
a
mean.
higher tier. That's part of
Yeah.
that. And you could do that. They could do that at your home.
Yeah.
So
No, I
that
was
kinda
thinking
scummy
of it
crap.
just amount of data, but
Or if
no, that makes more
if
sense.
Netflix partnered with AT&T, and so AT&T throttled every other video service except Netflix, and
Or
so
offered a
Netflix
higher
paid them to
tier.
do that. Yeah.
Or gave preferential speeds to only AT&T users. Well, let's end things on a light note. Everyone, stay safe, be kind to each other. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
See you guys. Have a good night.
See you.